Hey, Jim Remley here with eRealEstateCoach.com. I'm here with some superstar agents I've had the pleasure of working with for years, DeAnna Sickler and Dyan. They've just been all-stars, just again, have been ranked in the top 1% of agents. And so, what was your production last year, guys?
We closed just over $40 million, about 25% increase from 2017.
Wow, huge numbers. How many transactions was that?
87?
Yeah.
87, wow,
87.
huge.
Yeah.
So before the interview, we were talking about, which is I think is interesting when you get to a higher level, is having an ideal kind of client model.
Sure.
Like who are you selecting to work with? Because you have the power at this level to say, I don't want to work with this person, I don't want to work with this person. How do you guys determine that? I mean, what's your process?
I think what a lot of people think we do is it's related to product and pricing.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we've never really attached to that model. And so it really is about, can we provide this person a high level of service? So can we take it on? How many listings do we have? What's going on in our personal life? And are they in a position to receive it?
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely not numbers driven. And I think because we both have college degrees, that the idea of just opening the door and selling someone a house doesn't feed us, it doesn't do anything for us. So we like more to align ourselves with people that need service, whether it's like investors that are trying to decide how is my portfolio going to grow, or a first-time home buyer that wants to know what area am I going to be happy in for the next 5 years. And so that's really where we try to align ourselves with clients.
So it's interesting that it's not price driven, which I think is, could be easily mistaken with a lot of clients. Do you have people come to you and say, we're afraid that you wouldn't handle us?
Yes,
So
unfortunately. It's happened a few times recently, and it was more of us congratulating them on seeing that their home went pending or commenting on how cute it looked. And then noticing that they were like, oh man, I can't believe you're even mentioning it, and then in the conversation, it becomes clear that the only reason they didn't call us is they didn't think that we would want to be bothered with something in their price point.
Wow.
And it's the worst feeling, because for us, these are people we know, people we go to church with, people who are part of our social circles, people who are, affiliated with our kids in their school. And so we had realized just this year in setting our team goals, it's like we need to be more clear about who it is that we want to work with, because for us, it wasn't so much a missing out on the commission, it was missing out on being able to help them or to be part of their, board of directors, like we say. We want to be their people that they go to. And in some cases, they wanted us to be their person, they just were afraid to ask.
Do you think they thought you wouldn't handle their price range, or do you think they thought you were too busy? I think that's an interesting question too.
Price point, every
Price point.
single time.
Really?
Because what's interesting is they don't hesitate to reach out to us when they have questions related to real estate.
So that's okay.
And which is a fine line. It's like, ooh, I can't really guide you. You're somebody else's client.
Right.
But at the same time, that nurturing side of us is like, dang it, missed opportunity. So.
Now you said something, Diane, that was interesting. You said if the client's ready to receive it. What does that mean?
It's interesting. I think it's more of a gut check for both of us, and we'll leave a meeting and just feel like, wow, did we make any progress? Or is the same question coming up 5 times? Like in the beginning, we understand there's trust building that has to occur. And so you are asking the same question over and over. But 2 weeks in, we should have forward momentum. And sometimes they're really not ready to sell. They just haven't gotten there. Other times it's people that, are trying to guide us on how to run our business, and we just have to gently you have to gently remind them. You don't go to you go to the doctor and you tell them your symptoms, and then they, with their PhD, tells you how they're going to handle it. And for the most part, that's how we wanted to run our business. Whereas we want a team approach, but our marketing is down pat. Like, we know what we're doing, we know what works, and we know what doesn't. And so oftentimes it's just like, what? When you get clear and you're ready for us, come back. Or sometimes it's like, we'll take the listing on the second time after all of that's been fine-tuned out.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful with our personalities, just because we absorb people's stress. We're very empathetic people. And so if we have too many balls in the air, too many clients that need a lot of hand-holding, then it feels overwhelming to us. So it might be, at this stage, we just can't take you on. If you can delay 3 months and we get these other files closed, then we can.
Interesting.
But it's been a process to get there.
So that was going to be my next question. How do you gently reject a client? Well, I mean, what's that conversation like? How do you
It's
handle
not
it?
always awesome, and
Yeah.
I think what we have the advantage of is we have each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we both go into this meeting, open-minded, receiving, interviewing them as much as they're interviewing us, trying to decide, like, does this person align with what we're about? We leave, we have the conversation, and it's hard. We have to relearn it almost every single time because our inclination is, this lady really needs help and we really want to help her.
Right, of course.
But then you sit back and lose a night of sleep or have a stomach ache just thinking, is she really ready to let us help her?
Mm-hmm.
Dyan can feel me as much as I can feel her. And so even if she's like, yeah, we're in, if I'm not feeling it, it's like, okay, collectively we've had to decide.
This is time to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's not a fun conversation to have, but when you are very clear and very honest with them, that person in the end, more often than not, thanks you for being clear.
It's very interesting when you said the delay. We're going to have to delay you because,
Yeah.
you know.
You can only take on so many patients at one time.
Which is an interesting thing, which I think a lot of agents would be hesitant to do because they'd be afraid. They live in fear of, I'm going to miss this opportunity to get a listing or buyer. But I think it actually comes from strength because you are showing that we're so busy and in so demand.
Yeah.
You got to wait a little while.
And it's a fine line. I mean, the last thing we're trying to do is come across as being too busy.
Sure.
It's more of, if this person, this other broker, because most people get 3 or 4 opinions, if this person's telling you they can get you $300,000 or $400,000 more, you should list it with them. And I hope you get it. That's fantastic. Doesn't sit well with us. It doesn't feel right. And 9.5 times out of 10, 6 months later, still on the market. It's now reduced to under what we suggested in the first place. And then they call us. And in most cases, they're just coming from a different place. And it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's jump in. But, and in other cases, no. I mean, even when they tried it out with someone else and it didn't work, and even when they own it and come back to us, it still has to pass our gut check.
I mean, interesting question for you guys, the top 1% doing $40 million of business. Do you have a number in mind, like this is how many listings we want to carry, this is how many buyers we want to work with at any given time? Is there a number for you, or is there a client? Is it all relative to the
It
client?
depends on each situation.
Gotcha.
If we have really just it just depends. If there's a lot of high maintenance, we're only taking on 2 or 3 of those at a time.
Got it.
And it's ever changing. And so, but we also have told our clients, listen, if we're not in a position to take on your listing and give you the level of service that you require, we will tell you.
Gotcha.
And how can they be mad about that? It's like, I'd rather have the discussion up front and let you know, like, you know what, right now, we're just not in a place to take on this property that's either complicated, is going to stay on the market 2 or 3 months, or I'm sorry, 2 or 3 years, not 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to take 3 days to sell. But that comes a lot from just she and I holding each other accountable, because sometimes I will waver in that, and Dyan goes along, like, okay, we're a team, and then other times I'm like, what are we doing? And she's like, oh, thank God, because I was feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
Or we'll sleep on it, literally sleep on it, and the next day go, how'd you sleep? And we'll text each other in the morning. I'm like, all right,
Not well.
not gonna work. And then it's perfect, because at that point it was like, we have said to the client, after much consideration, we both agree that this is just not the right fit.
I would love to be on the other end of that conversation, just hear what they say. I can imagine some people's reaction to that's got to be like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One man in particular, litigation attorney.
Oh,
We did
how
not
did he
like-
react?
At first, he was quiet. He had us on speakerphone, and his wife was listening, and I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. And at the end, he's like, I totally understand, and he called a week later, totally different attitude, everything great, about 10 minutes. And I said to him, gosh, the conversation and the person I'm speaking with right now is someone I would love to do business with.
Wow.
But the last time I spoke to you for 45 minutes, you told me how to do my job, but you called me because I know how to do my job. Dyan was with me, we were in the car, we were heading to top 1%, so it's on speakerphone. So we're on the phone, we're going through it. Good behavior lasts about 10 minutes. And then I was like, oh, Larry, you're back. I said, good luck. And his house is still on the market.
Wow.
And he wanted referrals. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
No.
And
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So that's the power of the ideal client model, is understanding who you want to work with.
Find your niche.
And find your niche. And I think what's interesting is that it doesn't hold you back. It actually expands what
Empowers you a
doing.
bit.
Empowers you.
Yeah.
Great advice from DeAnna Sickler and Dyan Lane, 2 top producers. Thank you guys so much
Thank you.
for sharing your knowledge. Have a great day. Good selling. We'll see you next time at eRealEstateCoach.com.